There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. My name is Priscilla Almquest-Olsen, and today is June 6th, 2023. And today it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome one of my favorite guests who often is here in the studio. Why? Because he's very, very busy. He is an extraordinary violinist, extraordinaire, I should say, violinist extraordinaire, but he's also a conductor of many chamber orchestras, Waltham, Sharon, you name it. And he also teaches orchestra at the Oliverims High School. Very busy guy. But now he's more busy, or busier than he has been, because at the end of this month, we Eastonites are going to be treated again to the Easton Chamber Music Festival, June 23rd, that's a Friday, the 24th, and the 25th. So welcome Micheal Korn to the show, and please tell us about this wonderful festival and what we can expect.
Thank you. Thank you, Priscilla, for having me back. It's a pleasure. And yes, the festival returns to Easton. This is our 7th year. I am very, very thankful to the Easton community for such a great support of the festival. The concerts will be on June 23rd and 24th, as you said. Those concerts are at 7:30 p.m. And the concert on the 25th is at 5 p.m. The final concert of the event. As before, we have a wonderful faculty from all over. This time, the faculty is even bigger, so we are up to 11 people of all sorts. So we have 2 violinists and violist and the cellist and the double bass and the pianist, an oboist, clarinetist, bassoonist, French horn player.
Wow.
So I think I mentioned flute. Did I say flute? And the flutist. So
Wow.
we have almost the entire orchestra there.
Yes, what a faculty. And I understand they come from distant and faraway places too.
That's true. Well, maybe in the past they come from faraway places. Now, more or less, we are in the area.
Okay.
But we have a Russian violinist and a French double bassist and Brazilian pianist. So somehow we all got together here around Easton and meet for 7 years already. Meet
Now,
here for
these
giving musical
experts,
concerts.
they're playing. Can you disclose some of the orchestras that they play in?
They actually are not orchestra players in general. Most of them teach at the universities. They're musicians from BU faculty, from Boston Conservatory, Brandeis. So they play. They're very well known as chamber music musicians and as teachers. I think they do play in orchestras as well, but
they're basically academics.
That's right. Yeah.
It's wonderful. And so they're very proficient at their talent.
Absolutely,
At their, yeah.
and we have a great repertoire. I'm very proud.
Oh, I'm going to
of
hear
what,
about this.
what music we are going to perform this time. So on Friday, the first piece that is going to be played is composed by 19th, 20th century Swedish composer Elfrida Andre, who was a first woman who received an education in Sweden as an organist. And she went on and became sort of a female pioneer in Swedish music. She wrote a lot of chamber music, symphonies, stuff like that. So she's a very influential figure in Swedish music history, and we will be performing her piano quintet. So this is the piano and the string quartet ensemble.
Ed Hands filled me in on a little of that history.
Very nice.
Yeah, and how she was the very first female composer and led the way for many women who followed her. And she, as you said, she died in 1927, so she lived in both the 19th century as well as the 20th century.
That's right, that's right. And then we will play, so it's a very unusual combination, flute and cello duet by Brazilian composer Heitor Villa-Lobos. He's very, very famous for his Bahianas Brasileiras. I would sing a little bit, but I'm afraid you will never invite me back if I steal your time singing here. But he is probably the most famous Brazilian, if not South American, composer of the 20th century. So we will have this duet, and in conclusion of this concert, we'll play. It will be a very large ensemble. It's even somewhat unusual for chamber music to compose for such big groups, because they're simply logistically harder to coordinate. So it's a nonette for a mix of instruments, piano, strings, and winds, by a Black British composer, also of a Romantic period, Samuel Coleridge Taylor.
Oh.
And that was a composition that he wrote when he was 18 years old.
Oh my!
So it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of music, very orchestral, but still chamber work. And the concert altogether will take about an hour. So none of our concerts are very long, because we want to make sure that younger people, older people, all people can come and enjoy the music. Ed Hands will also give a short pre-concert talk. So actually, he will start speaking at 7:15 every night, and the music will begin at 7:30.
And then on Sunday, when it starts at 5, that will be students.
Will be students, but we missed Saturday. There's still Saturday concert.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, let's not miss Saturday.
That's right. So on Saturday, there are another 3 pieces of music. One is by a German female composer. Her name is Louisa Alphonse Labou. Sounds French, but she was a German composer. She is considered nowadays to be one of the most underappreciated female composers of the 19th century.
So she was underappreciated during her lifetime.
That's right. Also wrote, I think, more than 100 different works, and we'll be performing one of her pieces. Then a piano and winds trio by German Jewish composer Robert Kahn. So that is kind of more of a 20th century composition, and of course he shared the fate of many musicians of Jewish descent in Germany at that time. He was a professor at Prussian Academy of Arts, and he was forced to resign, and his music was not performed. He, in his 70s, he left for England, and that's where he died in the 50s.
So he he was not a victim of the Holocaust.
He survived.
He
yes.
survived. Yeah.
Yeah, he survived. It's very interesting to see kind of, this crossroads, so to speak. Johannes Brahms wanted him to be his student, and Robert Kahn, out of modesty, refused. Went on studying with someone else, but it's really kind of this transition from this greats, really the greats of German music, like Brahms, completely into the 20th century. So we will perform his piece, and then in the end we'll play a piece by German composer Heinrich Hoffmann, flute sextet, which is ridiculously difficult. When I gave it to the musicians to play, I was very worried that they will say, "Michael, you are insane." But I think they all liked it enough not to refuse to perform it. Very Hungarian sounding. Hoffmann is also a composer that we don't hear much, although one of his symphonies apparently was the most performed German symphony in the late 19th century. And now we don't even know what his name was basically. So it will be the final piece in this concert.
Well, I know that your concerts are never boring. One is not allowed to fall asleep because you change the type of music from one piece to another, and it sounds to me that when you have so many different instruments this year playing, I mean, it's just extraordinary that the audience is going to expect a fantastic presentation, but also very moving and full. It's not a skimpy presentation with a few instruments here and there, but what you're showing us, sounds to me, is that you're going to give us a full representation of most of the instruments that comprise a chamber orchestra.
That's true.
Bassoon, flute, French horn. You didn't mention clarinet, did you?
It will be a clarinet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so a lot of wood instruments, and then the piano, and some violins, and I'm trying to think of what's left. Drums. Is that about it? No drums?
Well, no drums this time. No trombones.
Oh, no trombones.
Or
Okay.
trumpets. So we still miss
Okay.
a few.
Very few.
But I hope that, yes, you are absolutely right. So every piece of music is about, maybe between 10 to 20 minutes long. So they're not overwhelming in terms of duration. There are different kind of ensembles, like you said, some entirely strings, some mixed with winds or piano, and there also, I'm very, very happy that we will be performing a couple of pieces of music by women composers.
Yes.
And Coleridge Taylor, an Anglo-African composer, and a few more rarely performed pieces of music, but not deservingly so.
No. What I find interesting and keeps me wide awake when I'm listening to music is to follow the theme and to see how the theme is reinterpreted by different instruments. So we're going to get a lot of that. So.
Absolutely. There will be a lot of interactions, musical interactions, and the musicians are the first class.
Right.
First class.
Well, it's going to be a wonderful performance, and 3 days, there'll be people who come all 3 days. But if someone had to come only one day, which day would be the best?
Oh, this is the hardest question you can ask. The
Okay.
music is so different. On Sunday, the students are performing.
Right.
So they will also. We have 9 ensembles this year. 43 students.
But we have to advise our audience that students are not teenagers.
That's right. The students are all grown-ups. All grown-ups.
All grown up.
Some are just started to be grown-ups. Some have been grown-ups for a while, but all grown-ups, and they're coached by the faculty during these 3 days.
Yeah.
And then they
And we don't
perform
see
in the
that.
concert.
We don't see that.
You don't
No,
see
we
that.
don't
You
see that.
only see their final showcase.
So it's remarkable to me that these musicians are working with students during the day, spending hours with them, and then being able to have the energy and to perform at night.
They work very hard. They do ask me every once in a while, can we eat? And and you know, and we do. So we find a few minutes here and there, but it is a very intense weekend for all of the faculty and all of the participants. By now I can tell that it is also a very enjoyable weekend because most of our faculty comes back every year and most of our students come back every year. We're just getting a little bigger with every year. But as far as for the audience, so they will not experience this kind of intensity. They can just come at 7:15 and listen to Ed Haynes give his wonderful talk, and then music at 7:30, and about an hour-long concert, and then people can
and be inspired.
go and enjoy.
Yes.
That's right. The rest of the night.
Yeah, and it's just wonderful because that time will go so fast. Just listening to the music, I remember it was like, it wasn't an hour, it was more like just a fleeting seconds that it was so enthralled. I was so enthralled. And a lot of that has to do with the quality of the players themselves. The musicians are top notch, as you say, first class, and that creates such beauty and joy for you, the audience. So please come June 24th, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and enjoy the performance. And we'll place out that information at the end of this.
Thank you. And I would like to thank you again for inviting me to speak. And I would also like to invite thank a Covenant Congregational Church for hosting us. They're wonderful. Eastern Cultural Council for supporting the festival every year. Eastern Alliance, who are also very instrumental in making the festival possible, and the entire community. So we've really been blessed by how much support we get from people in Eastern.
Yeah. So we forgot to mention it. It's all going to happen at the Covenant Congregational Church on Center Street in Northeastern. But we'll have that information for you.
So Friday, June 23rd at 7:30. Saturday, June 24th at 7:30, 7:15 at Haynes pre-concert talks, and Sunday, June 25th at 5. All concerts are at Covenant Congregational Church, and all concerts are free.
Yes, that's another thing. It's not going to cost a penny. They're all free. And so that involves the sponsors that help. And you, Michael, single-handedly gets all of the funds so that he can support the artists, the musicians who come and so forth. So hats off to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for joining me. And for you people out there, if you want a wonderful way to spend your Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and have an hour of real enjoyment and appreciation for the skills and the musical talent of these expert musicians. Do come and enjoy. And we thank Micheal Korn for, again, being the originator and director of this wonderful festival. Thank you, Micheal.
Thank you.
So thank you, Micheal Korn, the magnificent and extraordinary founder of the Easton Chamber Music Festival. And we thank you so much for being with me today. And I appreciate all that you've done in the past and your contribution to the music of Easton. You are one of Easton's treasures. We thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Until next time, Priscilla Almquest-Olsen. Be well.
There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in.